Hey folks, we're going to make some lead fishing sinkers, and PawPaw's going to show you everything you shouldn't do. I'll be right back. All right, folks, in all seriousness, working with molten metal is dangerous, okay? It can permanently mark you, maim you, hell, it could kill you, all right? And I'm serious now, you can die from messing with molten metal. I mean, you've heard of mercury poison, right? And mercury just happens to be molten at room temperature. But lead is very dangerous to work with. I mean, my goodness, they take it out of some paints and all that kind of stuff. And lead, man, when they have lead in paint, it just makes the prettiest, slickest, smoothest finish. But can't use it in schools, nothing like that. Nowhere children, no homeowners. Anyhow, lead is very dangerous. And PawPaw is doing everything wrong today except one thing. I am not indoors while melting lead. Alright? So my lead pot is set up outside so that, you know, I'm not sitting here inhaling strong lead vapors. Because you got to get pretty close to your molten lead to work with it. Okay? Alright, let me show you some of the things you should not do. You should not work with short sleeves. You should not work without gloves. See what else I can show you here. You should not work in short pants or flip-flops and bare feet. You should be wearing a leather apron. You should have leather shoes. You should be protected from molten metal because it's hot. It will burn you. If you get some on you, you can't wipe it off. All you can do is sit there and let it sizzle. There's nothing you can do about it. You get it on you, it's just going to burn. You try to wipe it off, all you're going to do is burn your fingers or burn something else or burn another spot. So you might as well grin and bear it and accept the brand that you just put on yourself for the rest of your life. Alright. Now that I've got that out of the way, let me show you some cool stuff. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make this sinker right here. I believe they call that a bell sinker. And it has its own molded loop on it, so you don't have to have the separate brass wire. Although a person could, I guess, if they wanted to. But this is the type of sinkers we're going to make. And here is the mold. Okay. And see, it all closes up like that. Then it opens up. And this one happened to stick on this side. Most of them are over here. And when you pull the sinker out, like this, it's going to have this little thing on the end of it. And you just take and cut that off with some snips. Okay? So this is the sinkers we're going to make here in a few minutes. And let me show you something else. I might try to pour a pyramid sinker. Y'all know what? Any of you has fished a lot in the rivers or the big water of the ocean, you know what a pyramid sinker is. And in a pyramid sinker mold, you see the little loop right there? Well, you can buy these little brass pieces, the little brass wires. And they're made round on the end. And they fit right over those holes. Okay? Like this little wire that I've stuck in place. but they spread out like that. But that way right there is going to work just fine. We're going to work good enough for demonstration. So I'm going to make that. I'm going to make one pyramid sinker. There's a little 1 ounce pyramid sinker. See the little brass wire there? That's what goes in that loop. This happens to be a store-bought sinker, but we're going to make one that's just as good. They ain't got to be store-bought. All they got to be is heavy. You know, you tie them on the end of a fishing line. It don't matter what they look like, but the different shapes do serve different purposes. Here's a little cast iron pot. This would be something you set up on a, it looks like a Bunsen burner stand, you know. It's something you set up on a stand and have a flame under it. And then you might use a little dipping tool like this right here to dip into the molten lead and then pour out of that little nipple. See how it looks like a booby? Got that nipple right there. And what that'll do then, this is full of lead down in here, and you pour that off into your molds. A lot of people use that when they're making their own bullets. And here's another way to melt lead. This is a cast iron ladle, and its purpose is to set over the fire. And it has the lips. You can see the pointed lips on the sides, so you can pour a little stream into your mold. Your molds don't have to be store-bought. You can make your own molds. I made a mold that I could fabricate a 1 pound sinker for deep sea fishing. Here's a mold a fella made. He made it out of aluminum, and what this was for is to make what we call a cannonball sinker. If you look at this, all this is it looks like somebody just took a drill and just drilled part way into this metal, okay? Just drilled part way. And then what they did is they did it on both sides and drilled through the top so that when you poured your lead, it would fill these holes here, okay? And he also has a little piece for the wire to go around. So this would make little what they call cannonball sinkers, although this wouldn't be a perfect ball because these aren't a full half sphere in each one. But if I have a little extra here, I'll pour a little lead in one of these, see what it looks like. I also like to tell you that a good source for lead, clean lead, ready to use, is eBay. And since Priority Mail came out with that, if it fits, it ships for the base price, this has been a heck of a way to ship lead. I don't know, I forget how many pounds this was. I think it was close to like 40 pounds or something, I don't know. But the guy, he said it's not made from wheel weights, it's a good soft lead, and he makes it in little pancake, or little, whatever you want to call that shape, little discs to fit into your lead pot. And I was actually able to buy this lead from this guy, Timothy Smith, Charleston, West Virginia. So if you happen to see a Timothy Smith from Charleston, West Virginia on eBay, this is the fellow I got this from. I was actually able to buy lead and him ship it to me cheaper than I could buy lead locally. And another good source of lead I discovered while I was in Florida was the vent pipes that go through the roof were all enclosed in lead. And when they'd put a new roof on, they'd rip that old lead thing off. And heck, we melted that down, made a heck of a lot of weights. But this guy, he says this is good clean lead. This is not made from tire weights. Your lead from tire weights has an alloy in it, and it's really hard. It's harder than just pure lead, and you can't use that type in bullet making. It's got to be pure soft lead. Can't be the lead made with wheel weights. And the one other thing you need to make darn sure you don't do is set up your lead melting on a wobbly table with no decent support. Alright? So you don't want to do that. Now then, let's see if we can make some sinkers. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is this little pot, by the way, holds about 20 pounds of lead. I'm going to lay that mold up there on top of there because I want to get that mold hot. If the mold is cold, the lead won't flow. It'll go in there a little ways, it'll cool immediately and stick, and then you don't get a good sinker. So you want your mold to be hot. And then you say, well, shouldn't you have gloves? Yes, I should. Okay. Yes, I should have gloves. Alright, let's see if we can make this work anyway. Alright. The little feller's filled up. See the hole in the top? When you see the lid in the top, you know you've filled it up. So I'm just going to set that aside for now. Let that be cooling. And while I'm at it, let me go ahead and I'll make one of these. I've never made one off this mold, so I'd like to see what it looks like. As soon as I see the lead pooling up on top is when I quit. Jeremy, you getting all this? Jeremy's the one that wanted me to do this for him. So you can just twist that little piece comes right off of there. Do one more while it thing's heating up. See, your sinker looks like this. I'm just going to grab that little scrap, work this back and forth a little bit, and see how it breaks off nice and pretty off that thing. Okay. And then of course the little piece you broke off goes right back in the lead pot. Alright, now I ended up with a bunch of these molds. I actually got them, believe it or not, I got them at the scrap iron place. And this one was broken, but just broken on the handle. Okay. You see those four are poured. Now then I turn it over and I pour the other side. These molds originally come with a little spring-loaded clip that snaps over the end of the handle to hold them closed. That way you just work with your gloves. And the little hole in the end of my lead pot here getting partially clogged. I'll need to wring that out a little bit. Okay. Now my pot has got about that much lead in it. I'm going to take these other two pieces here and put them in there. Because you never want your little lead pot to go empty. You want to keep the slag cleaned off the top of the puddle. There we go. Woo! Did you see it bubbling? That's why you don't want to be wearing flip-flops. All right. Well, let's see what we got. See if I can get this open. Yeah, buddy. There's some more sinkers. See that? That's all there is to it. I like doing this. I think it's fun. Alright, let's see. See if we had any luck with this one. Like I said, I've never used this one before. Oh. Ain't that cute? Like I said, this is a homemade mold somebody made. Oh, and if something ain't right, you know, you sit there and say, well, that's a mess up, an error. Just put it back in the lead pot and let it melt again. And let's see if our pyramid sinker worked out. Woo. Pyramid sinker had a lot of lead in it. It's hot. That mold is. Alright, let's see here. Alright. Hehe. Now you see the striations in that. What that is the lead wasn't hot enough, and neither was the mold. That lead should have just flowed in there. Plus my little lead pot's a little bit slow right now. Like I said, the little hole where the lead comes out is a little bit clogged. But your lead ought to flow, and that ought to be smooth. But that's what happens when your mold isn't hot enough. That lead starts cooling almost immediately. But you can see the wire in the top. It did its job. So it's sticking inside that lead. So it'll never pull out. And then all you do is work that little feller off the bottom, and there's your pyramid sinker. Well folks, thanks for watching this video. This was done more as a fella requested me to do it, asked me if I would do it for him about, I don't know, 6 months ago. You know how it is, a PawPaw. But anyway, I'm like an elephant, I never forget, but I must be a baby elephant because I ain't got much of a trunk. Anyhow, I hope I learned you something. Hope you enjoyed it. Just a little something different. Just to, I do want to tell you that as far as getting you a little lead pot, I really like these little Lee lead pots. I happened to somehow or another get lucky. All of them all over eBay was 50 bucks. And this one was brand new in a box for 35. Exact same one. Jumped all over it. $35. It's all self-contained. When you turn it off and unplug it, the lid cools in there. It stays in place. Once it's completely cold, which will probably be tomorrow morning, then you can set it up in the shelf, set it in a cabinet, whatever, and leave it there. And then when you're ready to use it again, you just plug it in, and after a while, all your lead melts, and it's ready to go. One thing I didn't show you is that you'll get impurities in your lid, and you need to sort of rake it off the top. I sometimes use a teaspoon or an old fork or something, and it's just to get the slag off. So when you're looking at it, you're looking at pretty shiny lead. Okay. Well, folks, I really appreciate you supporting my channel. Please tell your friends about me. I know there's plenty of other places on the internet or on YouTube where you can see making sinkers, but it's just like when I learned trigonometry. It was finally one thing one person said that made everything click and everything made sense to me. So it never hurts to look at other people's ideas and their opinions. They might come up with something that you've never seen before. You say, oh, that's cool. Or maybe, for example, that pyramid sinker where I had my own little homemade wire. You know, instead of you having to buy the little brass wires that are on eBay. You know, just little stuff like that. You know, you can pick up. Have a wonderful day and a better tomorrow. Bye. Sadie, did you approve of this video? Did this video meet with your approval? Alrighty then.